So today's the day we're gonna make something to move this. Now I have equipment. I could use my skid steer and my grade-all telehandler and do it with that equipment. I could put it on my rollback and slide it off the back of the rollback, but where it's going, there is a hillside like this in front of it. So when I put the rollback out, the rollback would be in a pretty good twist, and which means coming off the bed of my rollback, it's going to want to come off this way. I am choosing to do a more controlled way of moving this. So what we're basically going to do is we're going to turn this into a trailer. Stick around, find out how we're going to do it. So I had this old mobile home axle laying around at one of the other properties, so I went and picked it up and a couple tires. And tires should hold air enough to do what we're going to do. We're not going on the road or anything. These are 102 inches spring center to spring center. I need 92. So what we're going to do is adapt this so it's sitting on the trailer, or the trailer's sitting on this, and then we're going to make a tongue. This is 2-inch pipe I've had laying around. That's inside diameter. I don't know what the wall thickness is. It's pretty heavy. And here's a couple pieces of C-channel I dug out of my scrap pile. We're going to use that. Some of them pieces you see laying there. And then we're going to rummage through this scrap pile that I started cutting tanks up, getting ready to go to the scrap yard, and cutting up some other pieces. We're going to pilfer through this, see what we can find, see what we can use. A lot of this is either 3/16 or 1/4-inch plate, so we should be able to utilize some of that for brackets. Let's see what we can figure out, see if we can come up with a way to make this move very simple and easy with very little effort, hopefully. Who am I kidding? It's going to be an ordeal. It always is. So this is what's going to go on top of the axle. And I need a way to cut that half moon, that half round, in so that this sits on top of the axle and I can get some tack welds in here. So what I did is measured diameter of the axle, and I found this I had laying around. This is a lock for a spindle nut, and it has this flat spot machined right here. So I just found where the center of that flat spot was, and it's the same diameter as the axle. I just lay it right there and line it up with my center line and just trace it. Now I can cut these out and they'll all be the same. I'm going to try and clamp this in, just run my plasma cutter around it, but it's so thick it may not work. Usually if I'm taking this material away, I try and put my guide on this side, so if there's any mishaps with the cutting, it is in the no good material. By putting the thing I'm following, the template here, if I get all cattywampus out here, it ruins or boogers up the steel. Alright, so this is what we're after. We'll clean this up once we get it in place and we get it where it needs to be. Then we'll clean that axle up and weld on either side. I'm not cutting this off because this is temporary. We're going to end up just cutting this back off of this probably at some point. But now that we see that one fits pretty good, let's go cut the other one. If I did my math right, which I had to do it again because it wasn't right, I should be at about 92 to my inside mark. Oh yeah, that'll do. I can live with that. Okay. Now, those aren't on the right side because this axle is cambered this way. It's upside down. So these have to go on the other side, but at least we have our spot figured out now that I did the math right, where they belong. So next I need to get it in the shop and start getting it cleaned up on the other side. I ditched the round pipe because I found this angle iron I had laying around, and I found a piece of box tubing, and I found a coupler that I had laying around that would fit the box tubing. So we kind of got a trailer tongue, as you see. So the idea is that the tongue is going to be bolted to them 4x6s. So you may think this is a lot of work for what we're going to do. We could probably use a skid steer and a grade all and all that, but where it has to go and around and twist and up and down, I don't want to use a rollback. I don't use a skid steer. I don't want to use the telehandler, the grade all, because I don't want this thing all racked and creaking and coming loose and all that stuff. So We're going to be as gentle as we can, and I thought this was the best way. So we put it on a single pivot in the front, two wheels on the back. The reason we're using the mobile home axle is because it's so wide that the tires can sit out past the building, and we can get as low as we can, so we don't have to worry about any height issues anywhere. So what I'm going to do is, like I'm saying, is the tongue, if you imagine, when you lift up on the front, right, that's going to pivot right here, which would be the front of the run. So I'm going to put this piece of angle iron across that to spread the load. Then back here, it's going to want to push down. So we take these plates, we run them just past the 4x6. We're going to cut them off and weld on a plate that goes vertical, so we can put 2 bolts in the side, lag bolts or screws, in the side of the coupe on either side, and that should be adequate. And then when we're done, all I'm going to do probably is just cut my welds back apart, or I don't know, this could be a trailer, the beginning of building a small trailer. I don't know, we'll see what happens. I had that coupler laying around and it fit that box tubing perfectly, so that one I'm not even going to weld. I'm just going to drill holes, put through bolts in it. I don't know what this thing weighs. 4,000 maybe? I'm guessing. I don't have a clue. But so now I'm going to start with the center section. We'll make sure we're equal distant right in the middle. Get us a 90, get it all welded in straight, and then we can start on our 2 angled pieces. I guess I should add this. If I had a mobile home trailer tongue, that's what I'd use, because it would work perfectly. But I don't. This is what I got. This is what I'm going to use. I welded those 2 ends in, and I welded these pieces up good, and welded the tubing to the cross piece really well. This piece I'm not going to, because it's really not necessary. It just needs tack just so it doesn't break loose. All that's doing is help spread the load, instead of putting all that weight right underneath that 4x6 and damaging my 4x6. We're just spreading the load across the whole entire thing. So I don't need to really be too, I'm still going to put a small weld, but on, you know, here, but I don't know who I'm kidding. I'm going to weld it in. Never mind. So I use speed square to find this angle, because this is my straight line to the front of the Coop. Basically these two are parallel, so I want to match this angle right here with the outside so I can cut it off and add a plate to the end of it. So I just use a speed square, measure that one, come down here, copy it. Same thing over here. I got both the ends cut off at the right angle, so now it's time to flip this over, clean the backside up, and make my brackets. I was going to weld on pieces of C-channel like this, because this is upside down, so this would go up on the side of the 4x6 and drill a couple holes. I went to go look for material, and I found I had this piece of stainless, and it's not as thick, it's only 3/16. Yeah, I'm not sure it's 3/16, but anyways, it's thinner. So I tried to weld to it with my MIG, and it seems to do okay, so I think we're just going to cut that down and use it instead of cutting on C-channel. And I mean, it's scrap, it's just temporary. Then we'll just cut it back off. All my pieces are welded in. Now I'm ready to drill the holes and bolt the coupler on, and drill a couple holes on the outside of this. Snug them up. I got the holes drilled in them pieces back there. We're going to use 5/16 leg bolts here. Just going to run them into put them out as far as we could to give us as much stability as possible. I got that drilled, I'll snug this up, and this part's done. We'll get it out of the way and bring the axle in. So these are the two pieces that I made to go on top of the axle. We're going to weld here. This will sit on the bottom of 4x6, so we're going to put a couple bolts there. I can't go on the side back there because my siding comes down, and I don't want to booger up my siding. So I laid these out. We're going to use 2 5/16 in front, 2 in the back. There's going to be a lot more stress, I think, on this axle than there will the front of this, because the axle has to overcome all the curbs and all the bumps and all that, where the tongue's already up in the air. Okay, I've got this axle in, I've got the plane zeroed out, so I know it's level. Now what I'm doing is taking this piece, and I've notched it around here, and making sure we're exactly the distance away from the backing plate the same, so we're parallel to the leaf spring. Well, parallel 90 degrees to the axle. And then I have to take this and transfer it to here, and then make sure this is the same. And every time I turn that, it changes here, so I have to double check that I'm in the right place. I gotta shut up because that one's perfect. Couldn't get that lucky if I tried. Okay, so now I'll just go ahead and weld it in both sides real quick before anything moves or changes, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Alright, both pieces are welded on. Now we're ready to put the wheels in. Well, get their tires aired up, see if they'll actually hold air. We'll see, I don't know, but we're there. This thing will take 70, but they're so old, they got some dry rot to them. I'm not going to take a chance. Put about 45 in them, see what they do. That one's holding pretty good. priceless.
Frying eggs.
I don't think that's gonna work. Oh, well, let me see if the other side's the same way. Not quite as bad. Okay, well, I don't know if I'm gonna try and clean up that bead and make it work, or just go look for another one. I guess we'll try and clean the bead first. I'm never just going to right. And you would almost, there's probably a snowball's chance that we'll actually get this to seal up. We're going to put that black sealer on here, but again, it's only going to have to hold air for about an hour. At least enough air, that's for sure. Man, that's bad. So bad. Liberal amount here, and I believe I'm going to put a couple coats on it. This is so bad. So bad. Like I said, normally I would just throw that rim in the scrap pile, but it's only got to hold air for about an hour. And we ain't going on the road, so it doesn't matter. Alright, I'll finish resurrecting this bead, and then we'll mount the tire back on, see if it'll hold.
Well, let's hope that does it.
No bacon, no bacon, no bacon.
And eggs. Was that the side that was really bad?
I think.
Wow. There's a little bit of bubbles. I mean, are these?
No.
That's just suds? Okay. It's not actively bubbling, so. Try the other side.
Gotta watch that valve. I took that out and put a little bit around the valve too, so it was leaking. I don't see nothing there. Oh, you're kidding me?
Well, pretty happy so far. I mean, even if it isn't perfect, it will still work, I think.
That'll hold air, even if it has a small leak. I don't see anything. That'll hold enough air.
Well, good.
guess we win.
We think.
Yeah.
Don't speak too soon.
Today we're headed over to get one of my dump trucks so we can go get some sand for the chicken coop so we can get it moved. So let's head over and pick it up. Well, we are loaded with 5 yards of sand. Mason sand, I guess that's what she wants. This old dump truck runs so good. Doesn't even know it's in there. I guess a yard of sand is like a little over a ton. I don't know. Not that familiar, but get it home, get it unloaded.
Well, we just got back from getting our sand, and he's got the skid steer waiting. He's going to start spreading some of it down before we put the coop, bring the coop back.
Well, as you can see, we're all hooked up. Just use some. Jeez, old Pete lady.
I didn't mean to, sorry.
Killing my poor tractor. Anyways, my tongue is on, and these plates worked out very well. Nice and spread the load. This worked out just fine. Got it centered right here because I got a lot of support back there. The reason I chose to put the axle right there is because I want to lift the front way up and the back be on the ground. We'll put a couple 2x8s on the ground so it doesn't just sink into the sand. But then we can take and lift the front up and then get the axle off underneath it, you know, roll it out and then set the front down and crib it and then get the tongue out. Should be pretty simple. We use the tractor to do that and the skid steer. So far so good. Sitting pretty even, axle's pretty straight. Only problem I had was I went to go take them loose and the hub had been sitting so long they snapped off. But we got enough to hold the wheel on. And we ain't going down the road, we're just going to the backyard. So way out the back 40. Well, I guess nothing to it but to do it.
All right, you're clear. One of these days we'll get some of our junk cleaned up. It looks so funny on wheels. The ladies are going to be so happy. He put so much time into this and effort to make it really nice, and I really appreciate it. I didn't need anything near this fancy, but when he does something, he likes to do the best that he can do. So or at least a good job that he feels that he did a quality job. So, and I think he did. just going so much smoother than I thought it would, but he always knows what he's doing. He has a plan, and I never quite understand what his plans are. He tells me, but I still don't really get it. But he knows what he's doing, thankfully. I'm going to put this down for a minute because I got to watch both sides. Okay, it's just that one spot was a little tight. It looks so different outside instead of in that garage where it's not as bright. We have a sand, sand pad leveled out for it, and then we're going to put a bunch of sand inside of it.
So the wheel that I fixed is holding there just fine. The one that was holding there before and wasn't leaking, not so good. She's flat. Anyways, we're in place. So we stuck this big cribbing back here. Now what we'll do is we'll lift the front up and unbolt the axle from it. Once the front's up, we'll roll the axle out, and then we'll set some cribbing on the front and remove it, and then just set it back down on the dirt. Big, fast, in a hurry. Shouldn't take very long.
Took the cribbing out from the front. He's setting it down, and we just have to do the back, and it's in place. So now I just have to get the cribbing from the back, and it'll be set. This is called road fabric. We see this a lot in West Virginia. When they're building roads, they'll take riprap, which is down there I see a lot of granite chunks. They're softball size, and they're very sharp. They'll put a layer of that down for a road. They'll put this on top of it, and then put more of that riprap, or then they get down to smaller stuff on top to build a road. And this stuff is extremely durable. This is what we're going to use on top of our chicken coop, or on top of our sand, or one layer. This stuff can hold 80,000 pound trucks without tearing, you know, so it's extremely durable. And it's also less water go through. It's not a tarp. It is not like your landscape fabric you use in your flower beds. This is something completely different. I got a pair of scissors here. I'm going to show you. A lot of people said they're going to tear through this and whatever, but I'm going to show you. I've been trying here. So you see what I'm saying? It's extremely durable. And this, I mean, these are scissors. I don't think the chickens are going to get through that. So we're going to put that on top of the sand, and we're going to run it up the sides of the curb to hold it up so they can't get to the edge and start kicking the edge out. So we'll come over to the side and come up and then nail it in with button caps or something, maybe a piece of wood, we'll see. And we may just go ahead and do 2 layers. That way if they get through one, they still have to get to the other one. They may give up by then or move to another spot, who knows. So we're gonna cut that, get it in place, and get moving. It's hot.
Alright, we are done as far as the grading and the sand is concerned. Stuck a little 4-inch thick concrete block there to set the ramp on, because all this is going to settle some. So we made sure we got extra sand, so when it starts to settle we can fill it in. I have a few things left to do. We're going to build a feeder with that 5-gallon bucket and 4 PVC 90s. That's the water. Both of those are going to get hung. I've run the tie wire here to hang them from. They'll sit on a block, but they'll also be hung. So if the chickens try and sit on it, because they will, hopefully it won't fall over. Swings in, the table, it's in. There is one last thing we're going to do. When I was up underneath there putting that sand way up underneath the coop there, I noticed that there's no air movement, and I thought about this before and I thought, nah, it'll be alright, but it's not. So we're going to cut in a vent back here on the back side over here, and I'm just going to cut that siding out, put hardware cloth, cut a hole, put the hardware cloth in, just kind of do this ordeal here. Put that in, trim it out with J-channel, and then we'll make a door covered in aluminum trim coil that we can put in, and just put the 2 whatever those latches are called, so for winter time we can close it up if we want to. I'll build steps, but I'm not going to do it till the ground settles. It'd be pointless. I'm not too upset about it if it's not sitting perfectly level right now, because it's going to settle. When it does, then we'll address it, but not until. But as far as I can tell, well, that's not true. We're not done. We still have the gutters to go. We have gutters and rain collection barrels to go back here at each corner. It's not for the chickens, it's for the garden. But that's it for now. We're gonna call it end of the video. Everything was a success. We'll tie up these loose ends, and yeah, we'll call it done. It's done, lady. Done. Yeah. Here soon we'll get the chickens and get them in there. Hope you guys enjoyed. Catch you on the next one. Peeled the siding back. We've cut a hole in here, putting hardware cloth in, cut a hole on the inside. So I'll go in there and take hardware cloth just like this, and I'll bend the edges over like this one, so they don't get pricked on these sharp edges, and staple it from the inside, so even if something got through this, it probably won't get through that, and then the chickens can't get through it either and get stuck down in there. And then we're gonna trim it out. We'll put this vent over top of it, possibly. I don't know, we'll see what it looks like. This at least keep the rainwater out of it. Matches color pretty decent. Whatever.